The music scene today is dominated by songs typically ranging from about 2 to 5 minutes long. Songs such as Ariana Grande's Seven Rings or Lil Nas X's Old Town Road. They tend to follow a certain familiar format, consisting of a repeating background track and a pattern of alternating verses and choruses. The songs tend to be catchy, worming their way into your brain so that you can't forget them. And this format of music has been popular for a long time now, ever since the Beatles and Elvis. No, longer than that. We can find similarly structured music ever since the early days of recorded music. Listen to popular jazz songs from the 1920s and the 1930s, and you will see that this format of music has existed for a long time. Just listen to this track, Downhearted Blues by Bessie Smith.
I'm so disgusted, heartbroken too. I've got those downhearted blues.
Recorded in 1923, Downhearted Blues became a big hit. Sure, the style and lyrics might sound dated, but the bones of the song are ultimately the same. With a little editing and polishing, it could be made into a song that could be popular today. Speaking of changing styles, just why are some styles popular and others aren't? Popular music seems to be subject to the same changing whims that affect clothing and hairstyles. What is popular today might be a classic tomorrow, or it might be considered passé and overplayed, causing people to be shocked that it was ever popular. It can be hard to predict which song will become a classic or a fad. You might think that good music will automatically become classics, and not so good music will rightly be forgotten. And while there have been plenty of great songs that have endured, so have plenty of silly songs as well. It is hard to predict what will become popular and what won't. If popularity was subject to maybe 1 or 2, or even 10 or 20 things, it shouldn't be too hard to predict what songs are going to be popular. But popularity is subject to zillions of complex factors interacting with each other, and we can't really see the true nature of all of these factors. So let's not worry about why some song becomes popular and why another song doesn't. It might be hard to imagine nowadays, but jazz was once considered to be new and rebellious, and sometimes even immoral. A lot of people from older generations looked down on jazz. However, jazz was embraced by the younger generations as cool and hip. Its fluid and seemingly unstructured nature was a breath of fresh air compared to the other music of the time. It is interesting to see that today jazz is generally considered to be classy and refined, the kind of music you might hear at a fancy restaurant. Decades after jazz became mainstream, a new rebellion in popular music occurred. Rock and roll had been building up steam in the 1940s, but it really started hitting the big time in the 1950s. Chuck Berry helped launch the genre into the mainstream, and Elvis Presley rocketed it to a new level. There was a lot of concern about rock music during the time. Although the younger generations embraced it, many people in the older generations did not consider it real music. And some people also thought that rock was contributing to a decline in moral values. Today, the shock value of rock music has worn off, and it has generally been embraced by the public at large. You can sometimes even hear rock songs played at churches. For most of human history, music was created by voice or by hand. The vibrations of our vocal cords, the beating of the drum, the banging of the piano, the strumming of the guitar. That all changed in the late 1970s with the advent of electronic music. Innovations in computer technology by the 70s enabled music to be made without voices or hands. Instead, music could now be made with electronic help. Music could now include sounds never heard before. Electronic music completely revolutionized popular music. And with computers getting smaller and more advanced today, many musicians can now create studio quality tracks from the comfort of their own home. Also in the late 1970s, a new form of music came onto the scene that would eventually revolutionize popular music. Hip-hop, or rap, was very much unlike popular music at the time. Instead of melodies, hip-hop emphasized words and beats. It exploded into popularity in the 80s and 90s, promoted by artists such as Run DMC, NWA, and Tupac. As with rock and jazz, there was a lot of resistance to hip-hop. Some people thought that it was sending kids a bad message. However, hip-hop continued to rise and entered the mainstream. Hip-hop exploded in popularity in the 2000s due to artists such as 50 Cent and Kanye West. Not only were the charts filled with rap songs, other genres began borrowing from rap as well. Many artists such as Katy Perry, Tim McGraw, and Justin Bieber included rap verses into their songs. Popular music has changed a lot in the past 100 years. We have gone from jazz to rock, and now to EDM and hip-hop. And if history is any guide, popular music will continue changing over the next 100 years. Who knows what kinds of music will pop up in the coming decades? Will it be fast? Will it be slow? Will it be fun? Will it be annoying? Will we even consider it to be music at all? We could all make predictions and educated guesses, but the only way to really find out is to see for ourselves. Here's hoping to many decades of interesting music to come. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.